Conference report. Okay, here's the thing. Um, you know, what you say, fine. You think it's your impression that the will is a Newtonian phenomena, and therefore, I guess, an illusion because you say that it's deterministic. Now, to me, it makes no sense because why would you? People talk about developing the will in a compatibilist way, this illusion of will, or something like that. Even a non-compatibilist. This just whatever the illusion of will is, right? They talk about this having some utility, but utility has no definition without will. In fact, nothing has of any import has any definition without will. To me, philosophy is about living, right? About living well, hopefully, but, also just about living, certain ways to live. Well can have a lot of different definitions, but they all have to do with the will and using the will. Now, the will is very constrained. Gary goes off on a crazed tangent about why don't you admit it's constrained? I say it's constrained every goddamn time we have this conversation. The will is constrained. Furthermore, the will is even unconscious, which what does that mean to most people? What? Something else is willing? No, there's a lot of funky things to deal with about the will. But my philosophy is all about the will. And the one thing I'm not willing to say or allow is that, oh, there is no phenomenon of will. It's just like we're a rock or a river. As if the river has a will. It's as if you had in your comment, as if the snooker ball might think it has a will. No, things do not have to pretend that they have a will in order to roll downhill. A rock does not need a will to roll to the bottom of the hill. Why do we? Why would we? To motivate us, blah, blah. You don't need to be motivated. There's no options as to what's going to happen. What role would motivation play? Okay, now, but the main thing is that, we are living creatures. What does it mean to live? What are we trying to learn with our philosophy? Someone like you have been refining your will and the exercise of your will your whole life. And then you're going to not necessarily say, but basically imply that it's just an illusion. Gary, one of the most willful people on YouTube doing philosophy at least, and he's going to say, oh, but there isn't really one. What? I experience will every day. To tell me that there is no such phenomena as willpower. Okay, forget freedom. I've explained that plenty. Everybody can get freedom and why. No, nothing is free unrestrained. But relatively free, and Gary says, oh, you're changing words. No, I'm not. That's what people talk about. They talk about the relative freedom of things. If they're on 10 acres or 100 acres. Everybody thinks relative, and that's the other thing. Gary's like, no, we're all saying it doesn't exist. Yeah, you all say it doesn't exist. I find that fascinating. Don't say most people say that. We're not going to go by what most people say, but if we did, they believe there's some sort of a will. We're all spending and all of you that deny free will, you're spending your time as philosophers mastering your will, and then you're going to deny that it exists. We have to figure out how to use the will. That's the only problem. As soon as we give that up, then philosophy is fucking pointless. Philosophy is pointless. The only reason it's not pointless now is because while people talk about giving up their will, they don't. They're very willful. Okay. Now, how free is it and all the rest of it? It doesn't matter, Quantum mechanics might show a deterministic universe. And how we navigate that universe is free will. And maybe we reincarnate and navigate it every single possible way. Okay. So it ultimately is determinist. When you're done with all of your experiences, you've had every possible experience, it's always determined. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with a million other weird things. I'm not fine with you saying, oh, there is no phenomena of will. Implying that it's the same for a river flowing downhill as it is for a rock rolling down a hill, as it is for a tree and a rat and a human. You don't display any behavior that makes me think you really can live that way. or that you really disregard the value of your freedom of will. You have various compatibilist views. Fine, believe whatever you want, but just all of you don't tell me that physics says you should have, that you should conclude that. Okay, it is not determinist anymore. Physics is not determinist. That's a matter of taking a physics class. That's all I'm saying. You don't have to believe in physics. Just don't say that I believe in physics and that's why everything I think is determined. That's not what physics says anymore. It simply doesn't. And as I said to Gary, I honestly believe, question physics. For example, during the era when physics said that there was no free will, fuck that. Have a philosophy of will anyway. Think about will. Use your will. Take total advantage of your will. Now, for all of you rugged individuals, fearful types, it's like, I'm not saying kill people. See, I don't will that. I will peace on earth. I want there to be peace on earth. So to me, saying use your will is not the same as saying, oh, just kill people and do whatever you want. No, because I don't have that kind of will. I want to cooperate and stuff. I'm sorry. All of you people that hate each other, you understand will your own way. To me, maximizing the will is to maximize the goals of the will, which include peacefulness, includes kindness to others, feeling good that you helped out people, things like this. And the will is really too great to question. If I was in an era where they said the will wasn't unfree, I would fight that just as much as you guys are fighting the idea of a free will. But I'm not willing to accept, after thousands of years of slavery at the hands of man, that I'm also a slave to physics. I will fight that kicking and screaming to the last of my days. And you all should, because as philosophers, that is your activity, the exploration of the will, and nothing else. You have nothing else to explore. So that's my opinion on that.